Okay, so let's dive into a topic that's absolutely critical for any early-stage founder, your minimum viable product, or MVP. Now, I know, it's a term we all think we know, but its meaning has shifted so dramatically. Getting this right today can literally be the difference between getting that funding meeting and getting completely ignored.
See, back in the day, an MVP was just about getting anything out the door. It was meant to be scrappy, kind of raw, really just a test. But today? No way. That's just not going to cut it anymore. The new MVP, the one that gets investors excited, has to be intentional, super focused, and built to be a real foundation for what's next. The game has totally changed, and we're going to explore exactly why that old playbook is a trap.
So let's start by really understanding this new landscape. Why doesn't that old just ship it mantra work anymore? Well, the simple answer is noise. Just so much noise.
I mean, think about it from an investor's perspective. They are drowning in half-baked MVPs. Your product isn't just a test for you anymore, it has to be a powerful signal to them. A signal that you're serious, that you can actually execute, and that you're not just another idea on a pitch deck.
Okay, so what does investor-ready actually mean? This is where a lot of founders get it wrong. It has so much less to do with perfection and polish, and everything to do with purpose and proof.
At its core, an investor-ready MVP tells a super clear story. It proves you've done the hard thinking upfront. It's built to show an investor in just a few minutes that your idea is possible, that it's interesting, and that it's absolutely worth their time to take a second look.
And this right here is probably the biggest takeaway. Investors are looking for the thought process behind your product. They want to see the clarity, the intent. They're not grading you on how pretty your buttons are. They're looking for the substance and the why behind every single decision you've made. This is especially true if you're working on something really tough. Deep tech, AI, robotics. You can't just fake it till you make it with a nice landing page. Your MVP has to prove that the hard part is actually possible. It's got to be that real signal that cuts through all the noise.
I mean, this one just hits the nail on the head, right? An investor-ready MVP feels intentional. It feels structured. It feels like the first, deliberate move in a much bigger chess game. Trust me, investors can smell a weekend hackathon project from a mile away. They're backing you for the long haul, and your MVP has to show them you're serious about it.
So with that new mindset, what are investors really looking for when they click on your MVP link? Well, it's not some crazy long checklist. It actually boils down to 3 key signals they're trying to pick up on.
It really is this simple. First, can they immediately get who this is for and why on earth they would care? Second, are you just building features, or are you actually learning something from your users? And third, frankly, are they impressed by how you operate, by your speed and your skill as a founder?
Every choice you make is telling a story. A scrappy but functioning MVP that you built in 2 weeks with real user feedback, that says 1,000,000 times more than some perfectly polished product you spent 6 months on that nobody has ever seen. Your focus, your speed, the smart trade-offs you make, those are the real signals.
Okay, so how do you actually build this thing without getting completely overwhelmed? It's all about one thing: de-risking the venture for an investor. That is the entire game at this stage.
And this is the question you have to ask yourself before you write a single line of code. What are the biggest, scariest questions an investor's going to have about your idea? And how can your product directly and immediately answer them? So, you break it down into 3 big buckets. First, the tech. Prove the core of it works by tackling the hardest problem first. Second, the market. Show them evidence that real people actually care, even if it's just from 5 super thoughtful conversations. And third, the business. You just need to hint that you've thought about how this eventually becomes a real business. So on a practical level, what does this look like? It means being super intentional. Be absolutely ruthless about cutting features that don't prove your core point. And look, don't be afraid to use no-code tools, open source models, wherever you need to move faster. Done is so much better than beautiful right now. Okay, so this might sound like a lot of focused work, but the payoff? Oh, it's huge. This isn't just about building a better product. It's about putting yourself in a much, much stronger position to fundraise.
First off, you just completely changed the conversation. The second you have a thoughtful, working MVP, you are no longer just an idea on a deck. You're a founder with a real product in motion. And that earns you a level of respect right out of the gate that you just can't get any other way.
And second, you're not just selling a dream, you're showing a reality.
Real, working software is the best form of clarity there is, and it gives you so much more power in those conversations. You're demonstrating value, not just promising it. That's real leverage.
And finally, and don't underestimate this one, a real working product is like a magnet for awesome people. The best engineers, your first key hires, potential partners, they all want to join something that has momentum. Your MVP becomes the proof that you're going somewhere.
So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Look at what you're building or what you're planning to build. Is it just a demo, a simple test, or is it your first strategic opening move in a much bigger game? Because that's how investors see it, and it's how you should too.